I'm very excited to talk to you today because what I'm about to share with you is something that completely changed my life. And I believe it can change yours too. Today I want to talk to you about something called how to kill your weakness. A deep and powerful transformation that begins the moment you stop treating your weakness as a permanent part of your identity and start seeing it as a temporary obstacle you have the power to overcome. Weakness is not something to be ashamed of. Weakness is a message, a mirror, a signal, pointing you toward the exact areas where you need to grow, sharpen, improve, and evolve. But most people run away from their weakness, hide it behind excuses, cover it with fake confidence, or blame the world for it. They say, this is just who I am, because saying that feels comfortable. They say, I'll change later, because it removes pressure. They say, it's not my fault, because it protects their ego. But weakness does not disappear. When you ignore it, it grows stronger. Weakness becomes heavier when you pretend it's not there. Weakness becomes dangerous when you accept it as your identity. Killing your weakness begins with radical self-honesty, a level of honesty that most people never reach because it forces you to confront painful truths about why you are not where you want to be. You must be willing to ask yourself uncomfortable questions. Why do I quit so easily? Why do I avoid challenges? Why do I get angry so quickly? Why do I fear failure? Why do I waste time? Why am I inconsistent? Why do I let emotions control me? Why do I lack confidence? Why do I give excuses instead of results? These questions hurt, but they heal. They break you, but they rebuild you. And the moment you answer them honestly is the moment your transformation begins. Once you understand your weakness deeply, the next step is relentless discipline, because weakness does not disappear through motivation. It disappears through repetition. Motivation is a spark. Discipline is the fire that burns your weakness to ashes. Weakness survives in comfort, but it dies in pressure. Weakness survives in excuses, but it dies in effort. Weakness survives in waiting, but it dies in action. If you fear speaking, you kill that weakness not by thinking about confidence, but by speaking again and again until confidence becomes natural. If you lack consistency, you kill that weakness by showing up every single day, not just when you feel like it, but especially when you don't feel like it. If you procrastinate, you kill that weakness by doing the hardest task first every morning until discipline becomes your identity. If you get angry easily, you kill that weakness by practicing calm responses until emotional control becomes your first instinct. Discipline is not punishment. Discipline is the highest form of self-love because it gives you the ability to become someone you are proud of. Discipline is the opposite of weakness. Where discipline grows, weakness dies. Another powerful principle in killing your weakness is rebuilding your environment. Because no matter how strong your willpower is, your environment always wins. Your environment feeds your habits, shapes your mindset, and sets the limits of your behavior. If you surround yourself with people who complain, your weakness grows. If you surround yourself with people who gossip, your weakness grows. If you surround yourself with people who tell you to relax when you need to work, your weakness grows. Weakness thrives in comfortable environments, but it suffocates in challenging ones. When you surround yourself with disciplined people, their energy changes you. When you surround yourself with dreamers, your thinking expands. When you surround yourself with hard workers, your excuses disappear. When you surround yourself with people who are improving every day, your weakness begins to feel out of place. Your environment is the soil where your habits grow, and if you want to kill your weakness, you must plant yourself in an environment that forces you to rise. But here is something even more important. Your weakness is not something to erase. It is something to transform. Many of the greatest strengths humans possess were born from weakness. Courage is born from fear. Discipline is born from laziness. Confidence is born from insecurity. Wisdom is born from mistakes. Emotional control is born from chaos. Your weakness contains the seed of your future strength, And when you decide to attack that weakness every day, you begin to sharpen a part of yourself that will become one of your greatest advantages. The shy child becomes the world-class speaker. The poor student becomes the innovative thinker. The easily discouraged person becomes the most resilient survivor. Weakness is not the end of your story. It is the beginning. It is the place where greatness is built. If you avoid your weakness, you avoid your potential. But if you face your weakness with courage, commitment, and discipline, your weakness becomes your power. And then we reach the most important principle of all, never stopping the fight. Weakness is like a shadow. It follows you everywhere, and the only way to keep it behind you is to walk forward every single day. There will be days when you feel discouraged, days when you feel tired, days when you feel stuck, days when your old habits return, days when your weakness whispers, just quit. But warriors are not the ones who never feel weak. They are the ones who move forward, even when weakness pulls them back. Growth is not a straight line. You will fail. You will fall. You will struggle. But every time you get up, your weakness loses power. Every time you continue, your weakness breaks a little more. Every time you push through discomfort, your weakness dies a little further. Killing your weakness is not a one-time event. It is a lifelong journey. It is a commitment to becoming better every day, to refusing excuses, to choosing discipline over comfort, to choosing long-term rewards over short-term pleasure, to choosing growth over stagnation. If you truly want to kill your weakness, remember this. Weakness is not your enemy. Giving up is. Weakness is not your limit. Fear is. Weakness is not your identity. Habits are. Weakness has no power unless you empower it with inaction, excuses, and avoidance. You are stronger than your weakness. You are greater than your fear. You are more capable than you believe. The version of you that you dream of, the disciplined you, the confident you, the powerful you, the unstoppable you, is already inside you, waiting for the moment you decide that your weakness will no longer control your life. And when you make that decision, when you commit fully, when you fight consistently, when you rise repeatedly, you will look back one day and realize that killing your weakness was the beginning of everything. Your success, your confidence, your transformation, and your new life. In conclusion, killing your weakness is not a one-time event or a quick fix. It is a lifelong journey of self-awareness, discipline, and relentless action. Weakness exists in everyone, but it only has power when you ignore it, make excuses, or allow fear and comfort to control your decisions. The first step is to confront your weaknesses honestly, without hiding, denying, or blaming others. Once you identify them, you must attack them daily with small but consistent actions, replacing bad habits with productive ones, practicing skills you once feared, and refusing to settle for comfort over growth. Surrounding yourself with the right environment and people is equally important, because weakness thrives when you are supported by inaction or negativity, but it diminishes when you are challenged and inspired. The true power of killing your weakness is that it transforms it into strength. What once held you back, fear, procrastination, insecurity, or doubt, can become your greatest weapon when faced consistently and courageously. Weakness is not your enemy. In fact, it is the starting point of your personal growth, the fuel for your improvement, and the foundation of the strongest version of yourself. And while weakness may never fully disappear, it loses its control over you every time you show up, push forward, and take responsibility for your life. Ultimately, your weaknesses do not define you, your choices do. Your determination, your courage, your persistence, and your willingness to act, even when it is difficult, define the person you are becoming. Every step you take, no matter how small, every challenge you embrace, and every discomfort you endure brings you closer to the strongest, most disciplined, and unstoppable version of yourself. So face your weaknesses, fight them every day, and never give them the power to control your life. Because on the other side of this struggle lies the person you were always meant to be. If you love this video, please like, comment, share, and subscribe to get daily motivation video